we go now, baby. Take two. We are right back in the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Big Money Super Bowl edition. Before you bet, Aaron, live here on Sunday afternoon. The big game is finally here. This 2-week break between the conference finals and the Super Bowl. Feels like it takes a couple years. Never mind 2 weeks. So I am back. I spent the whole week in New Orleans last week. Had an absolutely great time. We were very busy doing a lot of stuff with different media members, getting to see the city a little bit. And let me tell you, New Orleans is a first-class city. Great food, great people. Bourbon Street is an absolute shit show. I highly recommend getting there if you have not gotten there. Okay, so a big show coming up for you guys today. Pretty straightforward approach to the show today. So you already know what our best bets are. We've been talking about what our best bets have been for the past 2 weeks now. So today's show is going to be focusing on taking some big swings here, some long shots, some touchdown scores, some parlays, and we're going to try to hit some big ones here for the Super Bowl. If you guys want to participate in the show today, I see there's some people in there already. Hit up that live chat. What do you like here? What is your favorite long shot play for the Super Bowl? Anything out of the ordinary that you want to share with the people? Give us a little breakdown too, and we will read a few off throughout the course of the show. Okay, so two guests on today's show, Jake Butt, who we have not talked to about the Super Bowl matchup yet. Then after him, Jingles will be joining us to get into some of his best bets as well. So let's start with our guy, former Michigan Wolverine, current analyst for the Big Ten Network, our guy, Jake Butt. Jake, how you making out?
Man, I'm doing good, Joe. It's good to see you. Completely agree that it feels like the 2-week break feels like an entire eternity. But I'm trying to soak it in because I don't know what to do with myself after football's over. Then it becomes like golf season, and I'm not a great golfer. So I'm trying to enjoy these last few minutes talking ball with you, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
I know. I miss these primetime games, Monday night, Thursday night football.
Right?
What I wouldn't give for a classic AFC South Titans Jaguars Thursday night football game this upcoming Thursday. But I got to find something to do with their time here. So you got some plus money plays for us, but we got to get your thoughts on the game as a whole here, Jake, because we haven't had a chance to discuss it with you yet. So we have the Chiefs here as a small favorite. Total sitting there. It's been going back and forth between 48.5, 49. Who do you think's winning the game here?
Let me ask you real quick. It seems like everyone I talk to has been picking the Eagles. I know the Chiefs are favored, but everyone is that kind of in line with your conversations?
Yes. Well, the consensus seems to be that on paper, the Eagles have them beat. The Eagles have more talent overall. I don't think where it matters most so.
Right.
Kansas City's got that Mahomes magic. They're a different team in the playoffs. Is that where you're going with the Kansas City Chiefs here?
Wonderfully put, Joe. I don't even know why I'm here because exactly what you just said is exactly how I see this game. Like if you just went position by position, you just go down through the team. This Eagles roster is loaded. And I know we've talked a ton of times this year. I place great value in trench play, the ability to dictate the terms of the game by running the ball and playing physical up front and both sides of the ball in both trenches. The Eagles have exactly that. But you said it, Joe. Not in the most important positions. And those positions being quarterback and head coach matter more in the biggest moments and in the Super Bowl. The way I've looked at this is it's going to be a close game, right? Like no one here, there's as good as the Eagles are, they're not going to blow out the Chiefs, okay? That would be that that's the path to victory for the Eagles. But if it's a close game, then it becomes a battle up here and a battle between Sirianni and Andy Reid, Jalen Hurts and Pat Mahomes. How could I bet against those guys in that situation? I got 3 key trends for you here. Mahomes is a perfect 8-0 against the spread and straight up in his NFL playoff career as a favorite of less than a field goal or an underdog. Thrives in close games. Mahomes, 13-0 in his career, playing inside a dome, 18-1 in indoors. Crazy. And then against Vic Fangio-led defenses. Fangio was my head coach for 2 years with Denver. So Mahomes familiar with these Fangio-led defenses. They are 0-8. So Fangio, 0-8 straight up and 2-6 against the spread in those games. And Mahomes has thrived. He's had 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So there's the logic of what we just talked about, but then there's the trends in the history that say, man, I really like Mahomes to win a close one.
So one observation from New Orleans, we went to the big opening night media night event on Monday night, and Mahomes was either extremely pissed off for some reason or he was extremely locked in. Like that guy was not cracking a smile. You saw him walk out; he was all business. So I don't know. Maybe he's extremely locked in. I think he's got a new baby at home though, or at the hotel, so maybe he's not sleeping
Okay.
so good too. Okay, so you do have a big parlay cooked up for us, but let's get into some plus money action here with a pick that you have for the MVP tonight.
Yeah. So MVP, based on what I just said, I would have to pick Pat Mahomes to be the MVP. Okay. If I'm betting the Chiefs, I'm picking Pat Mahomes. That you just have to pair those two things together. But if it's the Eagles to win, Saquon Barkley is the lead dog. He's got lesser odds, meaning a smaller payout to be MVP than Jalen Hurts. I like Hurts. If I was betting the Eagles, just because of the extra juice you get, MVP is historically a quarterback led award. I expect Saquon to have a big game, but I also expect the Kansas City Chiefs to know that and to make Jalen Hurts have to beat them through the air. So if the Eagles win the game, I would expect Hurts to have a big time game, which means I'll take the additional dollars if I was betting the Eagles to bet Jalen Hurts MVP.
Yeah, he was great in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And now I think he had a sloppy fumble early on, but he reined three in. More on that
Yeah.
later. And he also threw one in as well. So, and he's more experienced this time around too. Okay, so that's who you like for MVP. Let's get into a little parlay action. What do you have cooked up for us?
Yeah, so a couple of these are a little bit more obvious. As a tight end, I'm going to throw in some tight ends, right? So I like Travis Kelce to have a big time game. I understand it was a quieter game back in the championship game, but I do not expect that to be the case in this matchup. They're going to ride Travis Kelce all the way home, receptions and yards. Also, Dallas Goedert. He is a phenomenal weapon. The Chiefs have proven to be vulnerable at times to stopping tight ends. So as you can expect, you get the run game going with Saquon, but then you get into play action. Dallas Goedert has been one of the key pieces to the Eagles' success. What makes this juicy is Mahomes rushing, and you start to look at the trends, okay? Regular season, Joe, he was averaging about 3.6 carries per game, so under 4 carries. In the playoffs, he's had 18 carries in 2 games, so he's averaging about 9 carries a game. Vic Fangio plays a ton of zone defense, soft defense. They just don't want to give up explosive plays. Mahomes can step up. All the zone defenders are spaced out. Bang, that's when Mahomes is going to start to run, and maybe you get a couple free kneels at half or late in the game. Last 2 Super Bowls, Joe, against San Francisco, Mahomes, 9 carries, 66 yards. Against the Eagles the year prior, 6 carries, 44 yards. So this is a bet on history in the big games. Mahomes has proven willing and able to run the ball. I expect a little bit more of that in the game tonight.
Yeah, I like Goddard quite a bit tonight as well. More on that momentarily. Okay, Jake, before you go, I got to ask you, what do you do for the Super Bowl? Do you go to a big party? Are you like me and you watch the game alone in a dark room by yourself or something in between?
I've been going to my recent history has been going to parties, but tonight, man, with all the travel and everything I've went through this year, this is like my first weekend home since like August, effectively. So I'm just going to hang with my wife. We're going to get wings. We're going to do all the cliche stuff. I'm going to get some great wings and hang with the wife and the dogs.
Okay, Jake, so this is the last time we'll talk to you for a little bit. We'll catch up with you ahead of the NFL draft. Once a bunch of college football over-unders drop, there's a few out right now, but we're going to wait for the big board to open up. We'll check back in with you then. So until then, best of luck with those bets and have a blast watching the game tonight.
Appreciate it, Joe. You too, man. It's been an awesome, awesome time with you this fall. Awesome time with all of our viewers. It's been fun to interact on social media. So good luck to everybody with the bets, man. That makes a great day. If you can win your bets, that's a win for the day. So appreciate you, Joe, and I'll see you here in a few months or weeks, whenever it is.
Awesome, Jake. All right, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks. See you.
A true class act there, Jake, but a great addition to Before You Bet here this football season. We'll be making sure to catch up with him throughout the offseason at some important checkpoints here. We'll lean on him a little bit for the NFL draft. Okay, so closing in on 1,000 live viewers on YouTube and X. Guys, hit up that live chat. Let us know any big swings you are taking here tonight. Tim Powell says Taylor Swift MVP. I'm sure some people have bets in on the over-under amount of times they'll show Taylor Swift. I don't even know what that's set at. Always something fun to bet on. Okay, let's go to my NFL partner here. Kind of for the last time. You'll be back on the show tomorrow, of course, when we recap the game, but we're going to be taking some swings, some plus money spots here. Jingles, how you making out?
Making out. We're getting through. It's been a slog of 2 weeks. You've traveled. You've seen it all. You've talked to a ton of people. I mean, how long ago does it seem like we were talking about winners and losers for the conference championship game?
I know, right? The 2 week, it is a necessary evil, I guess. They need a lot of time. Like if you saw the operation they were running in New Orleans, they need a little bit of a turnaround time to set everything up. So it was pretty impressive there. I don't know if you've ever been to Bourbon Street.
Negative.
The biggest collection of drunk people I have ever seen in my life. It was well under a big police and military presence, though, to keep everything under control, though. So, yeah, I like New Orleans. It has a real uniqueness to it. You go to a lot of these big cities, and they all feel the same. That is not the case for New Orleans. I tried fried alligator. It tasted like chicken. You ever have alligator before?
I did. I went to a fancy restaurant called the Outback one time in my day and had some alligator. Wasn't bad.
Gator, baby. Okay, so we're taking some swings here, guys. You already know what our best bets are. We gave those out. We've been speaking on those for the last 2 weeks here. So we're taking a couple swings here. Let's hope we can hit on a few here to add to the bankroll for one last time here this season. So you guys know my pick for the game is the Kansas City Chiefs, but I'm not putting all my eggs into one basket. I'm open to the idea that, hey, the Philadelphia Eagles might actually win this game. There's a lot of people picking them. So I'm going to contradict myself here a little bit and throw a little bit of support behind the Eagles. But in the plus money variety, we're taking a swing on the alt spread. Eagles minus 8.5 at plus 384 odds. So if you want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you kind of have to destroy them. If it's a close game in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs are going to win. 17 straight wins in one-score games. Their only real loss this season, and I say that because we don't count the Week 18 loss because none of the starters were playing. It was a 9-point loss to the Buffalo Bills where the Bills outgained them by more than 100 yards in that game. It really wasn't as close as the final score even indicated. And their only Super Bowl loss during this Patrick Mahomes era was when they got destroyed versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-39. So we'll take them outside of a score there at minus 8.5. You look at the Kansas City defense. This is something I pointed to in the past couple of weeks. It's been a pretty easy stretch for them here, going back to the end of November. Carolina, Las Vegas, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh. They play a good offense in their most recent game. Buffalo, they come into town, drop 29 points on them. And I do think this Philly team is better than the version that met the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Obviously, they got Saquon Barkley, who is the best offensive player in football right now. Jalen Hurts is more experienced. Nick Sirianni is more experienced. And I don't know if you can say that same thing about this version of the Kansas City Chiefs team. So if the Eagles win, they have to destroy them. They have to pull away. So I'm going to take them on the alt spread, minus 8.5 at plus 384 odds. Okay, so more support here for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, the octopus. Explain to people what this is, Jingles.
I have so much stuff on Jalen Hurts, and it's starting to pile up. I wasn't on the Phillies, wasn't on the Eagles early, but it's just how my bets have made. And like Jake was talking about the price you're getting, obviously, on Jalen Hurts MVP. It's all fallen into line. So looking at it, where else can you find value? Hurts to record an octopus, yes. Now, first off, shop around best price at BetMGM plus 2,800. What is it? You got to score a touchdown and then the next 2-point conversion. So a lot has to go right here. And it's not the easiest thing to price. So in terms of a successful 2-point conversion is around plus 260 or like 28% implied probability. But Jalen Hurts just has an extra edge in terms of A, he can get the tush push, and B, that he can get this secondary 2-point conversion, which he's done 3 times over his career and in Super Bowl 57. I think there were 9 octopuses this year. It's not a very high occurrence thing, but if you're going to take a plus money swing, this does have some entertainment ROI on it. But the big thing here, Joe, is Jake Elliott. I mean, he hit all 7 of his extra points in the conference championship game, but he missed 3 of 5 in the wild card in the divisional round. So once that door opens, that's the more probable thing that happens. You need to miss that, so you have to get the 2-point conversion somewhere down the line. And I think Jalen Hurts has a skill set that other people don't in terms of him being able to get the touchdown on a 1-yard rush, because they never give it to Saquon on those 1-yard carries, and then the extra 2-point conversion. So I like this. And I think this is a better angle. If you're going to just get the yes, is there an octopus? Yes or no? I think that's somewhere around 14-1. You might as well just go with the extra price here in Hurts, because the probability of him being the only one on the field to get this.
So just to confirm, the 2-point conversion has to come immediately after he scores the touchdown, right? Correct. It can't be at a different point of the game. Okay, well, that's 28-1 for a reason, but somebody pointed, Tim Powell says he hit the octopus last time. So yeah, it's 28-1 for a reason, right?
And then it gives you that thing that there's always that conceited ego thing where you want to be the smartest guy in the room around people who maybe don't know football that much. And you're like, octopus. And then you get to have that conversation with the people. Maybe if you're at a party, they're like, what are you talking about? What is that? And then you get to mansplain to someone about what an octopus is.
Yes, sir. Okay. More support for Jalen Hurts here from me. I'm going to take him to score 2 touchdowns, plus 500 odds here. This guy has been an absolute touchdown machine in the playoffs in his career. He has 9 touchdowns in 8 games. He's been a touchdown machine all season, 18 touchdowns in 17 full games that he's played in this season. What did he do in the Super Bowl 2 years ago when these teams met? He scored 3 touchdowns in that game, and he's got so many ways to get in here, so much versatility. It can be the tush push, maybe a designed run. In the red zone, we saw a 44-yard touchdown run versus the Rams there in the divisional round. So, yeah, Hurts, he's a touchdown machine. If you're looking to take a little bit of a big swing, I love him on the anytime touchdown market. It was minus 105. I think it's up to like minus 115, minus 120 some places. But I like him to get in here to score 2 plus 500 odds. Okay. A little parlay action for you, a receiver parlay. Who are you pairing up here?
It's just kind of a usage thing. So Juju Smith-Schuster, 16.5 receiving yards over, and then DeAndre Hopkins under 1.5 receptions, plus 225. They've kind of flip-flop in terms of their role. Juju was the guy who got the majority of the snaps, 59% to DeAndre Hopkins, 17% in the conference championship game. And that was a game where Kansas City ran a ton of 11 personnel. So sometimes they'll use a lot more 2 tight end sets. They didn't. If they do, then that could decrease the route rate for Hopkins even more. Smith-Schuster, I'd rather take him on these yards than his over 1.5 receptions, because he's shown that he can put up big yards in small volume. His ADOT, I believe, is second on the team right now, 11.6, just behind Hollywood Brown. So he can beat this in 1 catch. He's not going to see 5, 6, 7 targets. He might not, but we could see, who knows? We might see 50 ball 7 outcome of what Juju Smith-Schuster is. We know that this offense gets the ball out quick. It spreads it around. There's no big alpha receiver if things are going well with this offense. So Smith-Schuster, we saw it at the beginning of the week. It was actually Hopkins' number in receiving yards who was higher, and Smith-Schuster who was a little lower. Early money, flip that. So that's kind of where we're expecting to see this share in terms of snap and route percentage. And that's what we like. We like Juju to get more routes than DeAndre Hopkins here, who's just, since Hollywood's been back, he's literally done nothing.
Okay, I don't think anyone in all of media, traditional and otherwise, I think you put us into the otherwise category, has said the name Samaje Perine more in the lead up to this game than yours truly. I love him to go over that longest reception of 7.5. That's hit in 14 of his last 15 games. I'm going to take him to score a touchdown. This is 14-1 over at BetMGM. And this is one of the best prices in the market right now at BetMGM. Go to a lot of other sports books. You're going to see them at 9-1, 10-1. There's some 12-1s out there. 14-1 at BetMGM. Great value here. So this is a guy, they sneak him out there for a few key plays every game. So what does that signify to me? It signifies to me that there is a lot of trust. We saw it in the game clinching play in the AFC title game against the Bills. Now, he's only scored 2 touchdowns this season, but they do use him very strategically. They need a first down. They need a big chunk of yards. Maybe they will find him some space in the red zone to get one in. And for me, this just kind of signifies one last big swing here for the season. I'm not putting $500 down on this. This is I guess what someone call a pizza bet, a beer money bet, a gas money bet, a $20 bet for me in this instance at 14-1 odds for P. Ryan to get into the end zone. Okay, you got a parlay. I got a parlay. What do you got cooked up?
It's a big one. Might as well go for a massive swing. A.J. Brown touchdown. Jalen Hurts 275 pass yards, and then Isaiah Pacheco 10+ carries. Like I said, Hail Mary on 2 markets that are low. And the 2 markets that are low are the Jalen Hurts passing yards and the Isaiah Pacheco carries. Nobody likes Isaiah Pacheco right now. His markets have absolutely plummeted. But a lot of it just has to do with that one output in the last game of the conference championship where Pacheco starts these games. He gets the first carries. He just hasn't done a ton of it early. And as we saw in that game, we saw Kareem Hunt rip off a 19-yard. I think he got all 22 yards in from the last 3 plays in the first drive for Kansas City. So it kind of relegated Isaiah Pacheco to the back seat, but Pacheco could get some more carries if he gets some yards. Obviously, he hasn't done a ton coming back from that broken leg, 3.5 yards per carry. But on the other side, Kareem Hunt isn't a guy who's going to get 19 carries a game. He's only 3.7, 3.8 yards per carry over that same stretch. The running game hasn't been great, but if they lean on it, there's lots of paths for that to go. You could have Hunt injuries. You could have them blowing out the Eagles where they kind of run the ball a little more. You saw a really high run rate, one of their highest run rate usages in the conference championship game. I mean, if there's 30 carries, Pacheco could get a few in there. So I like that. And if it's trail mode, we've already seen what trail mode Jalen Hurts can do. The passing game looks to be back on track. A.J. Brown, absolute beast. So 275, Pacheco. Negative game script will be perfect for this, but I think there are a few paths where just in regular game, if this Andy Reid team just kind of shuts down Saquon and says, okay, beat us, Jalen Hurts, are you really that healthy? Then I think there's something to this as well.
Okay, it is with great sadness that I now reveal the final bet that I placed. I placed it this morning. It's a fun one. It's kind of combining a couple of the angles that I like for this game, which is for the over and Dallas Goedert to have a big game here. So we're going to go with an alt total. We're going to bring it from 48.5 down to 44.5. Goedert to score a touchdown and Goedert 50+ receiving yards. It works out to plus 543 odds. So this is an alt total and what I think will be a high scoring game. If you guys caught our best bet show, I gave it the over at 48.5. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of breathing room here. As I pointed out earlier, this KC defense has had it kind of easy lately. However, I think a good argument can be made that this is the best and healthiest the Kansas City offense has been all season. I do like that it is a controlled environment indoors. It's going to help the kickers maybe open things up in the pass game a little bit as well. For the Goddard support here, the Chiefs are awful against the tight end position. They allowed more yards to tight ends than any other team during the regular season, an average of around 70 per game. And I think he might be Hurts' favorite pass catcher here. He leads the Eagles in yards and catches in the playoffs. Super reliable with an average of 62.6 and 5 catches. He had 8 targets in the NFC title game. And for what it's worth, maybe it's not a lot, he had 170 yards in this stadium, this dome, earlier in the season. So over 44.5, Goddard to score a touchdown and Goddard 50+ receiving yards at plus 543. Odds. Jingles, what do you have planned here for the game tonight?
Oh, family's leaving, going away for a month. They leave at 8:30. So hopefully I can get everything in I need to. And then say Bon Voyage versus against the halftime show that I'm not 100% really interested. I'm really not into this year's second half or the halftime show. So I'll be happy to, if that works out perfectly, but other than that, it will be at home. Same thing with you, sitting there, just kind of enjoying the bittersweetness of the end of the season, right? Like I want to listen. And I don't want to hear the banter. What's this? What's that? Sometimes that you get in random people that you don't know at a Super Bowl party. So just going to enjoy maybe a couple drinks, wigs, and just watch the game by myself.
Yeah, my approach to the halftime show and the commercials is maybe don't expect just to be wildly entertained by both of these. We're going to get a couple really good commercials. We're going to get some lame ones, but it drives me nuts that people, oh, the commercials sucked. Don't think you're going to a big blockbuster movie for these 30-second commercials. And the halftime show, I can take it or leave it. The one that I liked most recently that I thought was the best was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem, which was the Los Angeles one. Who was it last year? Was it, I don't even know who it was. The
Usher?
Weeknd had one. Usher was last year. I don't know. They're okay.
I think Usher played 75 songs in his halftime show, just segue to segue. And there's a myth that 50 Cent's still hanging upside down, getting ready for that halftime show. He must have been upside down forever. But I think that was the best halftime show I've seen in a while.
Yeah, that was good. The Katy Perry one was actually pretty good a couple of years ago. I thought the Madonna one was pretty good. But yeah, I'm kind of out of touch when it comes to modern music these days. So I'll watch it. And if I am entertained, good. Maybe it's just a shoulder shrug type of thing for me, though. I'm sure some people will absolutely love it, though. So, man, we've been working to get to this point since when? The middle of August, since we started getting heavy into our NFL coverage. So we say it's bittersweet that it's the last game. I guess sweet from the aspect of, okay, the game's finally here, but it's mostly bitter for me because the NFL is going away for so long. The good thing is, Major League Baseball is right around the corner, so we'll both look forward to that. Over under on the length of the national anthem. Any insights onto that at all, Jingles?
I heard it's pretty bang on.
Okay.
The market's pretty bang on. There wasn't a much. There you go. From that's probably producer Mick saying the over. I don't think there was much leverage either way to go on it.
That's one of my funnest traditions, timing the anthem. And no one has the official time, right? Because we're all sitting there with our stopwatch. Who was it? They extended the final note or whatever a couple of years ago.
That's a funny one. It's like, where is it? It's at the end of the brave. So if you prolong brave, and then at the end, that's the stop point. It's become quite a sharp thing to figure out.
Indeed. Okay, buddy. We're going to leave it at that, though, for today. If you guys are looking for more Super Bowl coverage, we have an absolute avalanche. Anywhere you can look, coverage.com has a ton of great information. All of our socials have a lot of great quick-hitting information as well. Make sure you're following on Twitter/X. Obviously, we got a ton of great stuff up on our Instagram. If you're not subscribed to the Coverage YouTube channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe and that like button right down there. Just because the NFL is going away does not mean we are going away. Before You Bet, we'll be right back at you guys tomorrow at the usual time, recapping the game, then going heavy into the NBA. And like I said, Major League Baseball, not too far off, March Madness, some golf. We're covering it all. Follow covers_sports on Instagram from someone named Delano. So he must really enjoy the Instagram account. Okay, Jingles, thanks for joining. Enjoy the game. Best of luck with all your bets. One last winning night for both of us here. Hopefully, we'll catch you on Before You Bet tomorrow, where we'll recap the game. To all the viewers who are tuning in all football season, thank you guys very much. Thank you to Jake for joining today. Thank you to producer Mick for putting the show together. Big shout out to our sponsor, BetMGM. Probably the best offering of any sports book when it comes to things you could bet on for the Super Bowl. So make sure you check them out. Okay, everybody, that does it for today. Enjoy the game. Best of luck with your bets, and we will catch you guys again tomorrow. Woo!